Welcome to the first episode of Let's Talk. Got Big Chief over here. I'm Stero, and we're going to talk about this whole, violence epidemic taking place in the hip hop community right now, and it's labeled Pushing V. You know what I mean? We had a label exec who will remain nameless at this point. That was on a very syndicated platform. Was it last week?
Yeah, very popular platform.
And he said something to the effect of content or issues, and basically stated that he would go with the content because his people got to get paid. So we're going to talk about that today and discuss some things, and let's see what it do. Let's get into it, bro.
Yeah, so one of the major rap music executive was mentioning about basically pushing certain theme or narrative within the black community or what have you, and basically saying, hey, his family has to eat as well. But with that being said, if his family has to eat, so it's okay to sacrifice our community by selling wholesale violence and disrespect within our community with our ladies and stuff like that. And I think that we as a people should definitely look into this to say, hey, this is not accepted. It's not going to be acceptable anymore. What do you think?
I mean, I think the whole genocide culture within the music has become so omnipresent that it's like we've become desensitized to it as a community. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, look at the list of individuals who have been taken by gun violence that were rappers in the last, year? I mean, we won't name any names, but if you're familiar with the, culture right now, you know exactly who we're talking about. And it has become an issue as far as, just this narrative that's being pushed within our community that's just unacceptable at this time, rappers are becoming an endangered species. When we were growing up, the hip-hop we were listening to, rappers weren't dying at an alarming rate. Whereas today it seems like every other month there's some rapper being killed or, being a victim of some type of assault or violence. And it's just crazy, man. The climate is very, it's very toxic. It's kind of inimical, to say, for lack of a better word. And, it's time for a change.
It's like, I like my rappers, right? But I like my rappers alive. I don't like my rappers dead. And it's like the chicken is coming home to roost. They push this narrative out, about bitches and hoes and, my N-word, I roll with my clique and what have you. And, my clique got the click and blick and all that other stuff and not afraid to use it on another brother. And, the thing here is that, okay, yeah, so, you had like rappers back in the days and they used to have issues and they used to battle each other. But now it's become in which the street now has taken over within this music industry, this rap music industry. And a lot of rappers it's either you're going to be in the streets or you're going to be an entertainer. It can't be both.
You can't conflate the two. Mm-hmm. It's just not going to work. As you've seen previously, and there's all kind of, theories running around as far as this last situation with Takeoff and the whole mob ties involvement in Jay Prince, his son, whatever. I mean, I'm not in Houston, so I can't really, I'm not on the ground down there, but as far as just being abreast to what's going on, as far as the social media and these outlets and YouTube, etc. What the narrative is, looks kind of sticky right now, man, and someone's going to be held accountable at the end of the day because the police are investigating, and what don't come out in the wash going to come out in the rinse.
No doubt, yo.
So,
no doubt.
It's like, I feel like, we talk about all this misogyny, all this violence, all this tough guy talk, all this gun talk, all these issues that are very toxic within our community. And then when one of our soldiers gets taken by the same narrative that we're pushing in the music. It's like, oh my gosh, rest in peace, so and so. That's so sad. Why did it have to happen to him? He was such a good person. But just like Saturday night, you was in the club with your hands up, twerking, and giving all types of how we say, praise and forwards and different, just happiness for the same music that has just, befallen your comrade. So it's kind of like at the end of the day, where's the thin line that we're gonna draw and say, okay, this is not okay? When are we gonna start pushing some music with some love and some unity and some togetherness and some respect for our women, and teaching the babies something that's of some substance, like a music that's didactic. I mean, we do have different genres of music, and I like all kinds of music. I mean, I'm not really a fan of the trap, so to speak, but I'm not knocking it, because at the end of the day, it's like I would sound like my parents knocking the hip hop that I grew up on. You know what I mean? And I don't want to sound like that. I know everything is generational, it changes, but we have to come to some type of medium and overstanding to whereas, the rappers and the entertainers aren't becoming victims of the same music and theme that they're pushing, Mm-hmm. It's like, something got to give, man.
The thing here is that when it comes to the modern hip-hop, as we know it, like I said, back in the days, you had battle rappers and, some of the most popular rappers, like LL Cool J and, Kool Moe Dee and Jay-Z and the Nas used to go at it or what have you, but they didn't bring the gun into play. You understand? And now in which
the beef was kept on wax, basically.
Yeah, no doubt. And the gunplay didn't come into effect, but now it's like there is no line of demarcation. These guys are traveling with their entourage or peeps from the neighborhood, but they're not traveling with professional bodyguards.
That's another thing.
You got to get professional bodyguards, man.
Definitely.
Because when you travel with your homies and all these guys are traveling with unlicensed guns, and certain neighborhoods, you get you with your boys, you get disrespected. Sometimes your boy's gonna pop off, and you have no control, because that's how the mentality is. You in the hood, someone slight you or disrespect you. You understand? Your boy's there, he's gonna pop off.
It's the culture and the mindset within which we've been, accustomed to and raised in for so long. So it's like, you have to, first of all, if you're in a certain tax bracket and you're making millions of dollars, why are you even remotely around certain situations or scenarios? I mean, personally, I feel like if I'm worth X amount of money, I'm going to be around individuals who are worth the same amount of money as me, if not more. There is no way I'm going to be associating or in the company of less thans as far as a pecuniary standpoint, because that's just like, the whole wolf and sheep mentality. You know what I'm saying? They're looking at me as if, that's a come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not saying that this particular situation was, but a lot of times it is. So we have to be conscientious of the environments that we're in. You know what I mean? I mean, a dice game, whether he was involved in playing dice or not, he was in that environment. I mean,
and I know about the hood and the dice games on the corner, man. Anything could jump off, man.
At any given time.
At any given time. You might threaten. I'm not saying the situation. I ain't paying you. I ain't giving it to you, whatever. And all of a sudden, boom.
Somebody getting poked up. Somebody getting assaulted. Somebody getting packed out. Somebody getting shot. It's just very, very volatile.
Yeah.
So, my grandma always told me prevention is better than cure. It's true story.
No doubt, No doubt.
So, it's just about trying to find some middle ground where we can still have an environment that we are enjoying it, and people can go home at the end of the night, after listening to the music and partying and having a great time and fellowshipping, and no one's losing their life, you know?
But, let's go to what I was saying earlier about the chicken come home to roost. These rappers are pushing V for violence.
Definitely.
Right? So they're pushing it on the radio and in the media and social media and what have you. And the same thing they're talking about, what they would do to their enemies, is befalling them now.
Basically.
You understand? So it's being transferred from the streets to the recording studio and social media, right? And the same thing they're talking about, it's affecting them, and they're dropping like flies. Who's next? I don't want any other rappers to be next, but we all know, like, it's a pattern, right? And it's just so sad, because I think that a lot of the family members should also reach out to these rappers and say, hey, you made it out. You are the fortunate one that have made it out of the hood, right? Because there's a lot of rappers out there that are not really making an impact, right? They're not known. But if you had the opportunity to make it out and you got that contract, yes, it's good to pull your people out, but it's not every one of your peeps it's good to take with you, because they're going to bring you down as well. So we also got to look into that, and have to have good advisors and handlers that handle in certain situations and certain decisions you make. They are giving you sound advice. Certain people, like there's some dudes in the hood that I grew up with, but I don't be around them because I know how they roll. You understand what I'm saying? We all used to hang out together. We all used to do our dirt or what have you, but at a certain point in your life, you branch off from them.
You grow up. You're mature.
No doubt.
You surround yourself with people who are like-minded and have the same interests as far as growth. We're talking about, getting land, building businesses, and, gaining wealth that will be there for generations after us. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not something that's just a fly-by-night, fleeting moment of, immediate satisfaction. We're talking about long-term,
It's like back in the days, I remember when, when Ice Cube and Ice-T and NWA and Luke and all them, they were burning and smashing the CDs about anything that has to degrading women and all that stuff back in the 80s.
It was a campaign, if you
remember.
Yeah. They had a steamroller out there with the politicians, and they were rolling over the CDs and chanting, and we're not going to tolerate this. And it's like, whoa, okay.
And some people say, oh, you're trying to stifle freedom of speech and so forth and what have you. But when, as black folks, is going to take responsibility, and again, you're not creating the wheel. It was already created. But the thing here is that how do we use that, what had happened before in the past, to address what's happening now when it comes to the violence, the pushing the V in our community? Whether it's with the radio stations or whether it is with the social media and so forth. We have to start taking responsibility for ourselves, because let me tell you, I've traveled the length and breadth of the United States, being in transportation. And almost every single city, even if blacks were not the majority there, most of the violence that's occurring in these big cities that have a large black population that is within the criminal justice system, is confined or in the criminal justice system. And people say, oh, it's no different from when movies are being made and it shows certain things in the movies. It's basically the same thing when it comes to music. No. Studies have shown that when it comes to music is very influential.
Facts.
Politicians use music, right? When it comes to campaigning and so forth. It's subliminally as well. And it also affects your train of thought. And music is very powerful, right? It's a very powerful force. And people could use it for bad or for good, right? Or if they're trying to influence people. So we got to be very mindful and start taking responsibility of our youth, and also be mindful of what they listen to. No, we don't want to stifle freedom of speech, right? And be oppressive or what have you. But we also got to be mindful of what we disseminate when it comes to the music and within our community.
That's facts. It's all frequency and vibrations, energy. You put out a certain frequency, that frequency is going to come back to you. You do good, put good out, good will follow you. You put bad out, do bad, bad going to follow you.
Yes.
That's just the law of nature, Mm-hmm. So it's up to us now to start changing that narrative collectively. And it just starts with each person saying, you know what? I am going to do this. I'm going to make this change. That's how we affect change across the board. So, the place is now, and the time is here.
And the takeaway from what we have discussed today is that, when it comes to our community, we have to police our own community, because we can't let others police our community, because we see what happens when others come in to police our community. They brutalize us, right? We also have to be very cognizant of what information is being spread in our community to hold us back. What do you say, sir?
I definitely agree, It's all about accountability at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? If each individual is accountable for their own individual actions, then we can affect change collectively, I'm not going to be out there, putting a message out that I know young kids are going to gravitate towards, because as he was saying, music is very influential. They know that they can, have a stronghold on our youth with these messages. Think about it. This whole trap, music scene. When you look at the word trap as a definition, what does trap mean?
To me, it's like, you're trapped in a community, and certain things are being pushed to you, and you can't get out.
You can't escape.
You can't escape.
So by definition, it's like you're in a situation that's like back against the wall, and you got to fight to get out. Mm-hmm. So personally, I feel that better must come, and change is imminent, because it's the only thing that's constant. Mm-hmm. So 10, 15 years from now, this whole cycle of music that we're hearing will be different, because the music you're hearing now isn't the same as the music that you was hearing in 2000. Yeah. It's not the same as the music you were hearing in 1992. Yeah. You can look back at those music videos at the sound, and even sonically, it's a different wave, a different wavelength. So I think everyone has to collectively make the decision to say, hey, you know what? It's time for a change. If we really do care about these youth, if we really do care about these rappers and love them as much as we say we do, people seem to be so enamored and starstruck when it comes to individuals that they've never seen, have never met, but they have an opinion on, how they live, what they're doing, what they're saying. And me, I'm just a fan of the music. Mm-hmm. You understand?
No doubt.
So I don't really have an opinion on what so-and-so is doing and how so-and-so is doing it, because whatever they eat doesn't make me. You understand? You know how I'm saying that. You know what I mean? So I know at the end of the day, all I'm responsible for is being a better person than I was yesterday. And if everyone collectively said, you know what, I'm trying to be the better person than I was yesterday, then, maybe we can start to affect some real change.
And I care about my community. Definitely. And I don't want to see certain things within my community.
Definitely.
Nationwide.
Definitely. Worldwide.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We have been, as a community, vilified, calumniated, marginalized. Basically, we're at the bottom of the barrel. You know what I mean?
And every single ethnic groups that get an opportunity to come to America, when it comes to African American, to be honest with you, if I've experienced it, they look down on us because of the negative stereotype that has been disseminated worldwide about African Americans here.
I mean, if you look on TV right now, you're going to see people that look like Chief and myself in some type of role that is not conducive to anything uplifting or positive. I mean, you know, so that's just from the television aspect of it. When you listen to the music, it's the same thing, you know. So we want to change that narrative. We're going to be coming, you know, with more topics of discussion in the future. You can check us out on Socialmobie.com. That's SOCIALMOBIE.com for more content. And Stero and Chief signing out. Till next time.
Peace out.
Bless.